Welcome guys, we're here in the Vegan Gastronomy Kitchen and we are making vegan macarons with potato protein. So a little bit of a sneak peek for you. We're just checking to see whether we are live, guys. So if you're watching, give us a hello, tell us where you're from. We're just checking that you guys can see us. And we're in our brand new space here in Naxos, Greece. Oh, we've got a couple of people watching. Hello. So tell me, have you made macarons before? Have you tried them vegan? I'm going to show you today how to make them. Super easy, using potato protein. You heard right. Okay, so I'm going to get Stephanie. She's going to come in here and say hello to you folks.
Hi everybody and welcome. It's macaron time.
That's right, we are making here vegan macarons with potato protein.
But special ones because the holiday's coming up. So not just any macaron, this is a Valentine special rose top macaron. So it's a little bit more tricky.
And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks of how to make this easier. We are actually going to be making vegan macarons in the French method, or also known as the cold method. And we're going to take you along step by step. I know I also have some of my students watching here live as well, and they have actually already asked me some questions that they want answered throughout. So I'm going to touch base on some of the tips and tricks that are going to make your vegan macaron making much easier in your kitchen. All right, well, without further ado, let's get started. So I might get Stephanie to go around to the camera so she can turn that around so we can see everything what we're doing. She's going to help me. Alrighty, so to make vegan macarons with potato protein, of course you're going to need your potato protein, and we're not using just any potato protein. We are using a product which we sell called Gerbe. So it is a potato protein-based product, which includes not only potato protein but also some stabilizers. Completely tasteless, guys, and very easy to use. So to make your vegan macarons are pretty much exactly the same ingredients other than eggs in your macarons. So we are going to be needing some almond meal. So I've got some almond meal here in my bowl along with some confectioner's sugar. And then we need some separate sugar which we are going to use to whip into our meringue. Now I do like to use confectioner's sugar for my meringue as well, just because we are in a very humid environment here in Naxos, Greece, so I like the confectioner's sugar which has a little bit of cornstarch in it, which is going to be a little bit more stabilizing for our macarons. And then of course our egg replacer, which is our potato protein. So to get started, we're going to start preparing our potato protein right now. So what I'm going to do, so I'll bring you guys down so we can get a closer look. Yes, we've got some people helping us today. All right, so first things first, what we need to do is I have my... Yes, we have some people here in person. I've actually got someone who is local here in Greece who actually makes macarons, but not any type of macarons. They actually make the traditional ones, and we'll show you them how to make them vegan. So I'm going to turn you guys around. You can say hello. Oh. There we go. Say hello, guys. So we've got a couple of people, our local neighbors, coming watching us live. So welcome, welcome. Alrighty, so we're going to get started preparing our potato protein for our egg replacer. So in my bowl here, I'm just going to grab about a tablespoon of my sugar, and as I mentioned, I'm using the confectioner's sugar. And I'm going to mix that with my potato protein, which I've already measured out.
So this replaces eggs?
Absolutely, so this is replacing the egg whites, which you would traditionally be using.
Product called Gerbe.
Yes, the product is called Gerbe. We do sell it on our freefromthat.com website, and after this video I will link all spices, and it also includes ingredients which is reducing the taste, so it's completely neutral in taste.
And we sell this in little bags or big bags?
Yes, so the size that are available, folks, is we have a 6 times 60 gram pack, or 360 grams, or the other size, which is our production size, which is 10 kilograms, including free postage. So now that we have our sugar and potato protein, I've just kind of whisked those together just to kind of help disperse the powders, so they're going to dissolve a lot more easily. Then we're going to add our water. So our water is going to go in. Just use just regular tap water, tap drinking water, and we're going to put in 108 grams here, or however many macarons that you are making. I like to live on the edge and just measure it right in there. So we've got 8 more. One more gram. There we go. Oh yes, Manuel's just brought me over a packet. So this is what it basically comes in, and you get 6 of these, and they will make lots and lots and lots of macarons for you. So I only used 12 grams today, and there's 60 grams in here, and you actually get 6 of those.
And where do you sell this?
We sell this on freefromthat.com.
And where does it ship around the world?
It ships from Greece, and we have people all around the world who purchase our products.
So we have people in France that buy this product?
Yes, we have actually a big manufacturer in France that uses our products in their patisseries all around the world. And
in the United States that buy this
USA,
product?
absolutely. So I'm just dissolving the potato protein with the sugar in here.
Can they buy this product from anyone else?
So unfortunately, this product is not available from anyone else. I know some people have talked about Sosa, and yes, they did provide a product called potato protein. However, they were bought by a French company, and this product is discontinued. So whatever is available around the world is just what's in stock, which is going to be expiring this year. So that product is no longer available. So we're the exclusive distributors of potato protein and potato protein products. Okay, so this is all dissolved together.
Correct?
Yes, we have, this isn't something that's going to go out of stock, guys, so don't worry about it. Okay, all right, so we're going to get this on. I just want to start mixing it just to start getting it frothy. So just on like a medium speed. And we're just starting to work that potato protein. There we go. Just starting to get it all mixed up.
Jess, you want to talk for a minute about comparing and contrasting the gervais versus other vegan alternatives?
Absolutely. So, in terms of the different alternatives of making macarons, so some of you folks might be familiar with aquafaba. What is aquafaba? Well, aquafaba is the liquid that you get from when you cook chickpeas. And it's got something called saponins in it, which foam. And whilst this can be a great alternative for egg replacement in a home kitchen, when we think about commercial use, it really doesn't work because we have a lot of waste, and then we also don't have the ability of being able to control how our aquafaba is working, because we often have to, it's not very reliable, so we have to reduce it. Maybe it might not be, the right consistency. And we also have a lot of leftover chickpeas. So using the potato protein is an inexpensive way to have consistency and quality in your product every time. So I don't know if you can see, guys, but it's actually started foaming up already nicely. So I'll just show you this stage that we're looking at. So see, it's just starting to foam a little bit. So it's just starting to foam. Now at this stage, what we want to do is put in 1/3 of our sugar for our meringue here. So we're going in with about 1/3. Now, once it's in, I'm just going to give that a bit of a mix just to kind of, get everything all shuffled in. All right, we're going to get this back on, and we're going to go on to a medium high speed. We don't want to put it on full blast because otherwise we're going to create too many large air bubbles. this for about 3 minutes or so. But whilst we're doing that, we can keep ourselves busy because we need to sift our almond meal.
While you're doing that, can you talk a little bit about some of the fails that people have had with other products, then to talk about the reliability of this? What is this going to prevent that other times people fail with?
So when we're talking about the meringue, it's a very, because there's the stabilizers in it, it's a very stable meringue. So often, as we mentioned before with the aquafaba, it can often fail because it's not at the right viscosity. We have to reduce that to get it at the right viscosity. And as I mentioned also, like this is okay for home use or for people who are just starting out. But what I'm showing you today is a more professional approach, or an approach where you can take this to a level where you can start selling your own products at the markets, or selling your own products in your food service business or cafe or restaurant. Oh, namaste. Thank you so much for healing Mother Earth. Oh, thank you very much. All right, guys, so we're going to be sifting our almond meal and our sugar now. So over here, I've just put a sheet of baking paper down, which is a nice, easy way to do it. We have our almond meal and our confectioner's sugar here, and I like to just kind of give it a bit of a mix, just to kind of disperse everything together. Mixing that all up. And I do get a lot of questions, Jessica, what's confectioner's sugar and what's the difference between confectioner's sugar and icing sugar? So confectioner's sugar is icing sugar with 2% corn starch in it. So if you can't get confectioner's sugar where you are, you can just put in the 2% corn starch.
I think some folks call it corn flour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, corn flour or corn starch. It's the really, really fine powdery one, basically. So we're just sifting this out on a big sheet of baking paper, and this is a great way to do it because then we won't get like all of our flour everywhere. I'm just going to stop you guys for a minute because look at our meringue. So we'll whip. So we're at a soft peak right now. So now once we're at this stage, we can slowly start adding our sugar, 1 spoon at a time.
You only have a third in it so far.
Yeah, so I'm going to put in like about a tablespoon at a time, and then just keep on mixing it. Yeah? So I'll leave you folks here, we can see. I'm sifting off the rest of my almond meal. Yeah, it's looking nice. Add some more sugar. If you can see here, I'm using a bench scraper just to kind of get through the last bits of my almond meal and the sugar. But yeah, sure. Stephanie's going to help me start putting the sugar in. So folks out there in YouTube land, have you tried making vegan macarons, and what were some of the things that you found hard, or what were your fails, or let me know. I know a lot of people skip the step of sifting your almond meal, but if you skip this step, you're going to have very lumpy macarons with a very bumpy top. So it is a way to get a nice smooth and shiny top. If you have a little bit of the almond meal like this, like the skins, you can just toss that. You don't need that. Ooh, it's looking good. So I've just got all our sugar in. I'm just going to scrape down the sides a bit, but look, already it's getting really nice and stiff. Look at that. Woohoo.
Egg free.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of icing sugar that I can see on the side. Now this is when you can start thinking about what kind of color you want to make your macarons. So I did some beautiful, we did some like dusty pink ones, like these here, you can see. And see how they have like the rose at the top? And then I have the flat one at the bottom. And then we also did kind of some peach colored ones. And then we did like a stripe effect. So you can really play around with the colors there. I do recommend to use the gel colors. And I'm using these ones, I think they're from Wilton. Yeah, so like gel colors. You don't want to use the liquid color. Doesn't work very well. I know a lot of my students want to use natural food coloring like dried fruit powders and things like that. Can you use them? Yes. However, if you're first starting out with macarons, I would not recommend it because you may need to adjust some of your other ingredients like your icing sugar and your almond meal. So it's a more advanced way of using those natural colors. It's a little bit more tricky. All right, so this is looking nice. Let's take a look here. So we've got a nice stiff peak here, and a way to tell is you want to be able to put it over your head. But anyway, yeah, nice stiff peak. All right, so we're going to put our color in now, and I'm going to show you how to do the same color that we did for the other ones, which is kind of like the dusty pink. And I like to mix colors together. So I'm using from the Wilton just the rose pink. And I always like to start with kind of like about that much. Put that in there. And then to my rose pink, I'm also adding some ivory just to warm it up a little bit. So you can always warm up your colors with a little bit of ivory or even like a yellow.
A little bit goes a long way.
A little bit goes a long way. And then I've got some, well. Alrighty, so we're going to get this back onto our mixer and we'll start slow and then we'll continue to whip this up. Okay. Ooh, looks pretty. And then you want to just scrape it down, make sure everything's all incorporated. And you can use this meringue recipe just to make like your normal meringue as well. So, you know, for your meringue cookies, pavlova. We have that back in Australia. So just making sure that it's fully incorporated, guys.
And any proper pastry supplier will have these colorings?
Yes. So you can get them, I bought these online, but you can get them at any pastry shop. Yep. And I do get a lot of questions, Jess, can I make this without a stand mixer? For this recipe, absolutely you can. You can just use like one of those hand beaters, and that's totally fine. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with this. This is all done. So I'll show you guys. I've got Stephanie here right next to me. But look at that.
Fabulous peaks. And the color is beautiful. Perfect for Valentine's.
You should be able to.
Yeah, straight up above. You can do it.
Always get a little bit scared doing that, but that's when you
got
know
it.
that it's ready. Okay, so I'm just going to tap off the excess.
I don't think they saw it. Do it again here. I'll bend down. You can show. So you turn it above the head and it doesn't fall out. So there we go.
All right. So what I like to do now is actually take it out of my mixer and put it into that bowl that I was sifting the almond meal into, just because it's going to be much easier for us to fold all of our almond meal inside. You won't get it.
Cradling it.
Exactly.
We're getting to your macaronage phase soon.
And the nice thing about this recipe is you don't actually need to do too much macaronage, and I'll show you a little trick of how we can get away with not having to do too much of it.
Just for those who don't know what macaronage is, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
It's basically just a term in making macarons of how to mix the mixture, that's all. All right, so we got our meringue. We have our almond meal, it's next to me. I don't know if you can see that it's on the paper, but we're going to pour in half of our almond meal mixture.
Just half.
Just half. I think that's about half.
Yep.
All right, okie dokie. And then we want to fold it very gently. So I'm just holding the bowl and I'm turning it around and folding it through. Okay. We don't want to deflate our meringue. Okay. And remember, this is our French method. We made a cold meringue. If you want to learn how to make in the Italian method, you can also find that video on our YouTube channel for free. So see how I've mixed that, and it's kind of like half mixed. So we're going to Stephanie's going to put the rest of our almond and sugar mixture in for us. And I know that some people put flavor in their shells, but I actually find it's much better to keep your shells completely neutral flavored, just with the almonds. And then you can make an array of different types of fillings. So you can use the same shells, but then put different fillings in them. And it's just much easier that way, I find. Okay, so we're just continually folding this very gently.
It's so nice because you can make the shells, you can store them in the freezer for a long time. So you can,
absolutely.
like you said, you can use one filling now, this week, and maybe next week do a completely different filling.
Exactly. Or you might have some leftover creams or something that you can use. Oh, we've got some questions. I'll miss the start. Well, you can always replay it, guys. We're going to save this on the channel, so don't worry.
YouTube, yes.
That is the beauty.
You can hit rewind.
So we're just slowly folding it, and every so often I like to just scrape my spatula. Just sometimes you get a bit of meringue that kind of sticks that almond meal anymore. And everything's kind of the same color. But we do want it to be nice and thick. So if you're used to making macarons, this is going to look a bit weird that we're going to use it at this thickness. Okay, so that's it. We are done mixing. We're going to start putting this into a piping bag. So I've got 2 tips. I'm using a fluted tip, or this is what's going to create our rose shape. So there's many different ones out on the market. I'm using this one, but I want it pretty closed. Yeah, this one's probably like about 8 millimeters wide. And the other one that I have here is just an open tip. And this one's actually really small. So I know a lot of you folks out there are using much wider tips to pipe your macarons, but you'll find you'll get rid of a lot of big air bubbles if you use a smaller tip. And this one's about 5 millimeters.
So you want to say that again, because that's a huge, huge win. The air bubbles are, I know I've seen so many of your students talk about that's a big issue with the shells. So a smaller tip will help prevent those. Correct.
Especially for like, that's what we're using for like the traditional shape for the macaron. Guys, if you want to create this look, all you need to do is get yourself a brush. This is actually a makeup brush. Are there piping tip numbers? Yes, it depends on the brand. This one is called a 1M tip. I'm using a 1M tip.
And this is a 5 millimeter.
And the other one's a 5 millimeter.
5 millimeter.
Yeah. So if you want to create that stripy effect, just grab your brush and just dip it into the gel colors directly, and you can just create some little stripes inside, and that creates that effect. I'm just going to do some plain ones for you guys today. So we want to put half of this mixture into our piping bag here.
Because you make it a top and a bottom, so you put half in the star tip and half in the
Yes.
plain tip.
Because I find if you're doing two roses and putting them together, they look a bit too big. I'll show you in a second.
They sit so nice and flat.
Exactly.
When
They
they're on the
won't,
bottom.
because like I've got two here. So for example, if you put these two together, it's kind of a bit too clunky. We're creating these two shapes. See, like so. Okay, so we have our rose one in. I'm just going to squeeze that. So when you're using your piping bag, just make sure you always twist the top so you've got a nice taut, like so. Next one, you're going to put in. I think to go. All right, so now we're going to do our macaronage. As I mentioned before, we don't need to really do that much because we're using a smaller tip. So I'm just actually just getting rid of some of those air bubbles. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that. It's a little bit looser and it's going to become more loose as it goes through my tip. So that was only like a few little swipes. And once you guys are more familiar, like once you start piping these, you'll kind of get the feel for the texture that you're looking for.
You'll just know.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're working with bread. It's like a feel thing. Okay, so we've got that all in our bags. Again, we want to try and get rid of those air and then twist the top so it's nice and taut. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. Now I'm going to show you guys a little tip of how to pipe them. So these mats are like really expensive. I have one. I think we got this together when we were was it in Ireland or something?
Yes, because it's a silco, so it is silicone. It's very flexible. They're great, but like you said, they're just very expensive.
They're pricey. I think this cost me like 20 euros or something. But just buy one, guys, just buy one. And then get yourself a piece of baking paper, which is the same size as the tray that you're using, and pop it on the outside, okay? I like to make sure it doesn't move by just putting a little bit of my mixture on the corners. And don't worry, you can always just wipe that off later. And we're going to stick that down. Now we're going to do so to do the rose, we always want to make sure that we have nice and taut, so we have that pressure. Now we always want our tip to be at a 90-degree angle. None of this piping on the side, see, like not on an angle, we want from straight up. So nice and taut, straight up. We're going to pipe a little, kind of like a little kiss in the middle, and then stop, and then pushing and swirling around until we get to the end, and then stop, and then kind of just flick it to the edge so we get that round rose tip. All right, so we're going to keep going. So we want to press in the center and then swirling around, and about 1 centimeter from the top. So I'm not pressing right from the base. We need about 1 centimeter, and you can use your left hand to help you with that if you like. And then swirling around, flick. Okay.
It's all in the wrist. And like you said, holding it straight up and down the 90 degrees, right?
Absolutely. And then we can start getting a little bit faster.
I don't see any questions, but if you get any, I'll read them.
Yes. Stephanie's going to answer some questions while we do some piping. We've got Man joining us again.
Great.
How are you doing over there, Man? Yeah, why not? We have our pastry chef. You want to come around? You want to try? He'll probably do a better job than me.
There we go.
Pro. Beautiful. So you can get so many different looks with it. Wonderful, thank you so much. We love that. We're very hands-on in our kitchen here at Vegan Gastronomy. So while we do a lot of masterclasses here on YouTube, when you come in person, you guys don't only watch, you do all the work too. So we get you really busy in the kitchen.
That's right. Not demo only.
No.
Demonstration, it's all
Yeah, and a lot of
hands-on.
my students will actually practice this a few times before they'll pipe them all out. But we've got some great, actually you did quite a few videos with the students in the courses in pastry last year where they were doing all their macarons.
Yes.
And they did such a great job. All right, so we're just getting the last one on there. Okay, gorgeous. All right guys, so you can see all our roses here. Now with the traditional macarons, you would kind of bang these out, all the air bubbles. Don't do that here. I got my tray here. I'm just putting some more of our mix on the sides. We want to make sure that it's not going to move. So we're kind of making glue.
Now we're going to do the bottoms.
Now we're going to do the bottoms. That is correct. So just to slide this onto my tray. And see, look, now I have my silicone mat ready. Excellent. All right, so next one, same thing. Oh, there's still a little bit of frosting. Now we're going to do the traditional shells. So if you just want to do traditional shells, you saw how we did the macaronage. We didn't really do it for that long. Same thing, 90-degree angle, making sure that we always have our piping bag nice and taut. And again, about about a quarter of an inch or just a little bit less than a centimetre. You want to start from the top. And then we're pressing. You can count as well, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stop. And then you can flick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. So you can just count however many is good for you in your head, and then you just, and then flick.
When it's busy in the summer, how many macarons did you make a day? How many?
And so after you do these, Jess, do they spread out a little bit more?
They do. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but I have a couple of millimeters before it reaches that end of the circle. And if you don't have one of these mats, you can actually make one yourself with a piece of parchment paper, baking paper, and just flip over your piping tip, and that's, see the circle of this piping tip? And then just with like a Sharpie, you can draw on your baking paper, and that can be like your guide. It's actually exactly the same size, which is great. And yeah, we mentioned using a smaller tip for your macarons really helps to get rid of any of those super large air bubbles, so you don't have any volcanoes in your oven.
Volcanoes. So remember, the idea is to make these bottoms match up, because you always want to have a nice pair.
Yes.
So that's the other thing too, that you want to have the diameter of your macaron bottom be the same as the top.
Mm-hmm. And I know the roses, when you pipe them, it feels like they're bigger, but they're not. They're the same size.
Because they just have more height.
Exactly. So you'll notice every so often I'm just kind of like twisting my piping bag.
For always that good taut tension.
Exactly. It makes it easier to pipe. Does our pastry chef here have a machine, or do you pipe them by hand?
By hand.
Oh, nice.
One of our customers does 15,000 a day.
Yeah, so you can get machines as well, from like small scale to big scale. All right, so we're just putting this onto our tray now, and I did put a little bit more of the mix on. And and I just want to make sure that they're really stuck, because in my oven, the fan can...
What happened yesterday?
Yeah, so yesterday when I was piping some, the fan in my oven just flipped over my baking paper, so you don't want that. All right, guys, so I'm just going to lift you guys up here a little bit more so you can see my tray. I'm going to tap underneath. I want to get those air bubbles out. Some percussion in the kitchen. Yeah. And you probably can already see they're starting to get more smooth tops. Okay, and then I kind of like to just do one last one on the bench. So if you notice any little air bubbles, you can go back, or like little holes, you can go back with your, like a little skewer arm, just using my, this little thermometer, which has got a pointy edge here. And you can just kind of go around. I can't see what's brilliant about using that small tip is you don't get as many air bubbles, so it's less work for you. If you see any big ones that have popped up, I have some that I've pre-done so we can start baking them. So I'm going to bring you guys over so you can follow me. We have a brand new oven over here. So I'm just going to switch you guys around. Not sponsored, but we have the Unox oven here. I have my oven set at 135 degrees. We have it with a fan. We'll just go back here to the display with a vent open. So if you are using a fancy oven or a combi oven, this is what I would recommend. And the fan is on low on 1. If you're just using your domestic oven, I use this one all the time. 135, make sure you check it, guys. You can have an oven thermometer, or one of my favorite things to do when I'm traveling and using other people's ovens is this little laser gun. So set it, you want to put it on the fan with the top and bottom with fan. Can you ever over whip, said Palwi? No, you can't. That's one of the fantastic things about potato protein. You can't over whip. All right, so and then you would set this to 135. Check it obviously before you put it in. Yeah, so temperature, it's your time. Okay, so that's how you would do it in your domestic oven. We're using the fancy number today. We're going to set a timer on this. So we are going to set it for 5 minutes. Oops. 5. Okay. All right, and I have some macarons already here, and they are dry. I actually dried them in my oven as well, so if you guys have a combi oven and you want some information of how to dry them faster in your oven, just send me a question in the comment section. I will let you know that. Otherwise, you need to dry them. If you're in a humid area, it could take like an hour or more, dry area less. So we're going to get these in. I'll get Stephanie to hold the camera for me. So we're going to get our macarons in.
Into the bottom.
Yep.
And then the top.
And we'll check here. See, it's got 5 minutes, counting down, 135, venting. Yeah. So we're going to be baking these for about 5 minutes. That's what we're looking for, getting the feet. So we're just doing the feet for now. Okay. So looking pretty good. See, I always like to wait in the beginning because I don't want all my paper to fly up. Oh, we have a question.
You have a question about the 5mm tip, a link for that?
A link.
Right, and then there was also information about dehydrating, so.
Okay, yeah,
you
sure.
mentioned.
So if you have a combi oven, and you can use what you can do is I usually set it to the lowest temperature, which is 30 degrees, low fan, and I put that on for 15 minutes. It's very humid here in Naxos, Greece, so if you're in an area where it's drier, you could probably do it for 10 minutes. Out here, it's so humid in my space, it can take up to a couple of hours to get them nice and dry. And if you don't dry them properly, they can tend to crack when you bake them.
Someone asked a question, can they over whip the turbay?
I already answered that question, yeah. So, yeah, you can see. Oh, there's a little bit of rise. I don't know if you can see, Steph.
You can see the beginning of some feet.
Yeah.
Mini feet.
Exciting pop. And look, I give you a time of 5 minutes for feet, but it could be a little bit less, it could be a little bit more. I did have a student in my class right now who was making macarons, and she was finding even after 10 minutes she wasn't getting feet. And I did ask her whether she had a fan in her home oven, and she said no. So if you don't have a fan in your oven, the temperature inside your oven is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be as consistent or as hot. So if you don't have a fan in your oven, you want to increase the temperature by 5 or 10 degrees. And you can check that. Again, that's where your thermometer can come in handy, or even if you're still finding it's taking a really long time to get that initial feet, just pop your temperature up 5 or 10 degrees. So yeah, oh look, they're popping up here, Steph.
Yes, they are. It's very satisfying when you see the feet beginning.
Yeah, no, they're looking really good. So let's have a look at our time. So we have 1 minute and 36 seconds left. So if you folks have any questions online, I'm trying to think of some other things that people often ask me.
Any chance there's where can I buy these rebate from? Oh, so Calvin, yeah, you can go on the website, freefromthat.com, and Jessica, or go back to the beginning of this video, Jessica talks, so we have 2 different sizes. You can buy 6 60-gram bags, or you can buy in large commercial volume for 10 kilograms.
10 kilos, yeah. So Stephanie was saying, freefromthat.com, we sell the Gerbe product in 360 gram. And at the recording of this video right now, it's only 20 euros for almost 400 grams, which is an amazing deal. And then we also have the 10 kilogram, which is our commercial as well. So, yeah.
There's the link, which is put up by Macarons, so there you go, the link's there.
I can see my feet here. Yeah, we've got like 30 seconds left. It's looking really good. So yeah, I think most of the problems that people find with their macarons is with their mixing. So you want to make sure you got a nice stiff peak in your meringue. And then when you're folding through your almond meal, you don't want to overmix, you don't want to undermix. So those things can play a big role in the consistency. Getting your oven temperatures right and your baking times right as well.
And after your 5 minutes, then what's the next step you're going to do?
So right now, I'm kind of happy with the feet. If you want to give them a little bit of a shot here. Uh-oh. See, the fan just blew them up, but it's okay. They're all dried out now. So.
That's what you're talking about, the strong fan.
Yeah.
Great feet.
I might just get some more batter to stick them down.
We just have completed the 5 minutes.
So I'm just putting a little bit more batter down. I don't want them to fly up again. There we go. See, because it already dried out. There we go. All right. So we're going to get these back on. I just opened my door a little bit just to get some hot air out. We are going to program back up. There we go. Okay. So now we are going to set.
So we we're at 135. Now we're going to set, you're going to drop the temperature down.
We're dropping it down to 100 degrees. So I'm just putting it here. Okay. Fan, we want it 1. We don't want it too strong. We want it on the venting, and the time, I usually find about 20 minutes. So we'll check all of our systems are on. Yeah, excellent. All right, so we don't really need to do anything now. That the oven's going to do all the work for us now. So we're going to start putting some together because we already have some already baked. Yes. So you can see. Oh, I think the audio should be back on. Can you hear me now, guys? Let me know. Could you help me, Stephanie? We're going to just plug back in, guys. That, you should be able to hear me now. All right. So we were just talking about the different fillings, and there's 3 different types of fillings, being ganache, jam, and curd. And I do have pastry cores. So I'm just matching up my different macarons right now. So we want to make sure that they are the right size, because sometimes they're going to be, a slightly bigger, slightly smaller, so we want to get the right ones to fit together. There we go. Oh, there's enough for me. All right, so we're going to get our filling in. So again, we always want to make sure nice and taut, and put a little bit of filling in. So there you go. You want the right amount of filling to macaron as well. Another thing that's very important is when you fill your macarons, unfortunately you can't eat them right away, which is a little bit disappointing.
Well, you can, but they're not really appropriate, right?
No, because your macaron is still going to be very kind of crunchy on the outside, and we want to soften everything up, and we want all of those flavors to meld through your macarons. So I have made some. I filled some yesterday, so I can show you the texture. But yeah, there you go. So we've got some nice little, they look cute. You can also spray this with luster spray if you want a little bit of sparkle.
Just a minute, I can redecorate. I just want to talk a little bit about when we put those on.
So what you want to do is once you have filled all of your macarons, you want to grab yourself a container, Exhibit A, or just any type of container, and just pop them in here, and they want to go into the fridge for 24 to 48 hours, and this is going to mature them And all the flavor is going to soak into your macarons, and they're going to be absolutely delicious and the right texture for eating. So those are going to go in the fridge, but I thought I'd just grab a knife and we're going to cut through one of them so we can have a look. So here's one from yesterday, and it should be a lot softer. See, so we have the filling inside. We have no holes either. Steph, do you want to try one?
Love it.
You're welcome. So I'm going to try one too. Bon appetit.
I'm sure it's fabulous. You get the combination of the crunch and, like you said, the softness. And it all blends so well.
So it should be a little bit soft in the outside, on the inside rather, and a little bit crunchy on the outside. So the texture is going to be a little bit different to a traditional macaron because we didn't deflate a lot of the air in the macaronage. So it's going to be a little bit crunchier on the outside because of all those ridges that we created for the rows. And then you get all that flavor that's kind of infused inside. Yeah.
It's a little button of tremendous sweet flavor, very festive.
Yes. So, guys, have a go at your vegan macarons with potato protein gervais. And let me know if you have any comments or questions. You can put them in the description, in the box below. I will also link the recipe after we finish this video, so you can. Oh, Man's already done that? Okay, great. And if you want to learn more about macarons or different types of pastries, you can come to our pastry course online or in person. Or if you're more into baking, yeasted breads, cakes, things like that, we have a baking course as well. And Stephanie does all of our savory offerings. So we have our vegan cuisine, which is our most popular course online, and also vegan cheese. So check that out. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys soon.
So if they have any questions, they can just pop them down below.
Any questions, just pop them down below, and we will be having regular YouTube videos starting up now because we have our kitchen here in Spain, in Greece, all set up. We came from Spain, we're in Greece. We're ready for some more classes with you folks. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.